Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Live It Up. It's the home edition. This is the show where we explore and discuss how to take your life to that next level and beyond. We cover health, wealth, relationships, and how to create a life that really feels good. Because after all, that's what we ultimately want. We want to feel good. I'm your host and coach, Fletcher Ellingson. Amy will be joining us later on during the show to join the conversation as we talk about the COVID-19 vaccination. She'll share with us what her experience has been around getting it, what you can expect, and address some common concerns. Remember, health is the first wealth, so stick around and learn something new. But before we get to that, I want to remind you that if you have questions that you would like us to answer on or off the air, you can email those directly to me at fletcherellingson.com. You don't need to suffer. There are answers and ways to get unstuck and move forward powerfully. All right. Before we go on, I wanted to share a story because recently someone said to me, Fletcher, you talk a lot about the practice of feeling good. Isn't that kind of hedonistic? Wow, what a great question. I mean that. What a great question. Well, if you mean I give a lot of consideration to ways I can gain pleasure and avoid pain, then yes. You see, when I feel good and when I say good, what I really mean is that I feel secure or confident, certain, grateful, present, connected, open, willing, ready, relaxed, playful, joyous, eager, compassionate, courageous, curious, inspired. You see, feeling good encompasses a lot of ways of being, and they actually feel good in the body. So if these ways of being are hedonistic, then that's me. But let's ask another question. Isn't everything we do in order to feel good and avoid pain? You know, you go to school to get a degree. Why? To feel good. You think it's going to make you feel good. You get a job. You get married. Why? Because you think it's going to feel good, right? It's going to feel good in some way. You have kids. Why? You play games. Why? You go for a walk. You eat a yummy snack. You get together with friends. You volunteer. You volunteer time or donate money or do a random act of kindness. Why? We do these things because they feel good. And who do they feel good to? You. You are the center of your world. And the sooner we admit it, the sooner we can begin creating even more of a feel-good life. You were given this incredible opportunity to engage with this incredible, marvelous world. I don't want to squander it. I don't want to squander it feeling badly. I don't want to spend it feeling insecure and fearful or worried or stressed out and unhappy. And here's one of the main reasons I want to feel good. Because when I feel good, I take better care of myself. I take better care of my family, my home, and my community. When I feel good, I eat in a healthier way. That's in alignment with how I want to live. I'm a better husband, father, a better son, a better friend. I'm better in my work. I volunteer and I give more often when I feel good about me. And I can engage with my world in a much, much more powerful way. You see, I can make a greater impact, and guess what? Making a positive, feel-good impact for others, helping them tap into their personal power so they can create a fulfilling life. Well, that feels really good. This is a conversation that I want you to dive deeper into. And I invite you to stop by my website at fletcherellingson.com or get in touch with me on Facebook. I never tire of this conversation. So if you're looking for some conversation about feeling good, about making a difference, about tapping into your personal power, then let's connect. All right, we're gonna take a quick break and then we'll be back with Amy. So stay with us. Hey everybody, we are back. Welcome back to Live It Up. We're here with Amy. Hey there, Amy.
Hey there.
We just got back from a 3-day getaway. That was fun, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Felt really good.
Yeah. Lake Roosevelt.
Yeah, yeah.
Kind of cloudy the whole weekend, but first time I've been to the lake and it wasn't, blue or sunny like it. I think it is probably almost 330 days of the year. So
Yeah.
I look forward to going again when the sun is out.
Yeah, but it was a weekend full of fun indoor games and ping pong. Good times. But hey, we're here to talk about something else. What are we talking about today?
Talking about the COVID vaccine. It is on a lot of people's minds. It's on the news, in the paper, everywhere.
Everywhere you look.
People are talking about it.
So I'm pretty excited about the COVID vaccine. I have not gotten it, but you've been vaccinated.
Yes.
So can you just share a little bit about what was your experience?
Well, I got vaccinated up at North Valley Hospital up in Okanagan County. They were one of the first ones to get the vaccine, or they were the first ones to get the vaccine in Okanagan County. They'd had the foresight to get a freezer that could accept the Pfizer vaccine. And so pretty much as soon as I knew they were giving it out to healthcare workers, I signed up. I drove, a ways, even from where I work in Brewster, and got my first shot in December before the end of the year. And then Pfizer is a 3-week shot, or later you get a second one. So I got that done and it went really well. I had no reaction immediately, obviously, or not obviously, I didn't. The first shot, that second day, the day after, or the first day after, I did not feel very good. And I was kind of on the couch, just felt really achy. And then after the second shot, again, the day after the shot, I felt pretty achy. And probably for 3 days total after that, I got on a Friday, so Saturday, Sunday, Monday, I wasn't feeling 100%. But after that, I was fine. So so it was exciting. I felt like it was something historic that I was doing. Even driving up, it was just like, wow, this is a huge thing that's affected our country. And it was really cool to be able to be vaccinated. I've heard a lot of people feel that way. They're kind of emotional when they get the vaccine, and it feels like a relief and also like you're part of something that's part of history.
Yeah, really neat. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to getting mine.
Yes.
And
you're too young to get it, too healthy.
I'm too young and too healthy. Two good things, right?
It's a good thing.
So while we're talking about this, where are some locations locally that people can get them if they're in that phase?
Yeah, so right now we're in the phase where people or healthcare workers can get it, people in healthcare settings, and then also over 65. Anyone over 65 can get it. And so it's definitely been very uncertain. As everyone knows, nationally it's been uncertain. All the states are experiencing the same thing that we're experiencing, where we're not really sure who's going to get it, when they're going to get it. In Okanagan County, North Valley got that big Pfizer a shipment, and then they haven't gotten any for a while, and they weren't sure when they were going to get any. And I think they're getting another big shipment of Pfizer vaccine. Family health centers, they got a shipment a few weeks ago. They're also taking applications online. We were getting Moderna vaccine up at Three Rivers every week for a while, and then we haven't gotten any for 2 weeks. Any first shot doses. They're giving everyone enough to give the second shots. And then in Chelan, Douglas, what it seems like is happening is they're steering everybody down to the mass vaccination center, which in Wenatchee is at the town Toyota Center. They're doing about 1,000 a day. They're not sure how that's going to work because they're supposed to stay there for 6 weeks. So everyone should be able to get their second shot. And pretty much, yeah. And so what are they going to do if they're trying to do 1,000 first shots and 1,000 second shots? That becomes a logistical issue. But I do know a patient of mine last week told me that she had signed up to get her vaccination at the Safeway here in Chelan. So I think if people who've paid attention to this on the news have seen that the government is wanting to give vaccine to pharmacies and maybe take them away from the healthcare organizations, which is fine. We have plenty of work to do. So I think they were given to the hospitals like, hey, you guys do this. And the hospitals are like, oh my gosh, we have a lot of things to do. So I think that they're going to be maybe redistributed to other places. The one thing I would say is what you would want to do for Washington State is if you Google find your phase WA, there'll be a form and you can fill that out online and it tells you what phase you're in, if you're eligible or not. And also you had done that.
Yep, I did.
And then you got a follow-up email?
Yeah, they texted me and it was follow-up and they just wanted me to kind of confirm my age and my health and a few parameters like that, which I did. And then right as soon as I hit submit, it said, you're not quite eligible yet. So
yeah. So, but if you sign up on that, then it will keep in touch with you. The other thing is if you go to the Department of Health, like for Chelan County, they should have the information on the Town Toyota Center. I believe the Town Toyota Center, you're either calling or signing up online on Sundays, and then they're doing that. I have heard that they do have extra doses at the end of the day. If they're having extra in the vials and people are arriving at 5 o'clock, and if there's any doses at 6 o'clock, they are administering them. I believe this is not confirmed, but they're going to go for people who are eligible. So if you're 65 and older, but you hadn't signed up, then you might be able to get a shot that way. But I think it's going to smooth out. It's getting there. It's just been a little bit, bumpy over the last month, 6 weeks since the vaccine has come out.
yeah, and understandably so. We've never done this
Yes,
before.
we've never done it before. So
I know a lot of people have some concerns about that, or thoughts or opinions about that, or like it's not going very smoothly. And to me, I'm like, wow, we're doing something on this scale as a country. Like there's going to be some bumps for sure, but I'm really excited about how it's going, and knowing that, yeah, there's going to be things to figure out, kinks to smooth out. But I love that we have acted so quickly to take this on.
Yeah, it just made me think of, I never thought to read about how it went down in our country when we did vaccinations against polio. I'll have to look into that, because that was another thing that we did kind of as a country, but I think that was a much slower process. Anyway, good thing to look up.
Hey, let's cover one more thing before we go to commercial. Talk a little bit about how vaccines work, and particularly this one. We've talked about it in some other episodes, but give us a refresher.
Yeah, so a vaccine works by injecting your body with a germ or a part of a germ, or like in the case of this COVID, it's the mRNA. It allows your body to produce a protein or component of the virus. So then your body basically is presented with a foreign protein, and the antibodies, which are your disease-fighting cells, they make an immune response. It's not enough vaccine, it's not enough germ to get you sick, but it's enough germ to mount an immune response. That's kind of the fine balance that they have to figure that out when they're making a vaccine. So then the whole point is that your body makes memory cells, immune cells. And so when you're exposed to that germ in the future, your body's like able to mount a quick and effective immune response. So it's like you're priming your immune system's response. That's all a vaccine is the injection of a protein into your body so your immune system can make cells to then remember that germ for the future. The original vaccine was figured out in the 1700s because I was doing some reading on this, that the milkmaids who were milking cows, they didn't get smallpox. And the reason they didn't get smallpox is they would get cowpox or horsepox, and they would get sores in their hands. So that virus was similar to smallpox, but it didn't kill the milkmaids, but it just got them a little bit sick. And so they actually started taking pus from people's sores or animal sores, and then like putting them in the skin of people, or maybe injecting them. I couldn't really figure out. They said injecting them. I don't really know what that means. And then those people, they found out they didn't get smallpox. And so that's how they figured out that if you give someone just a little bit of a germ, they actually will be protected in the future. So just to be clear, like you cannot get COVID from the COVID vaccine. You just period cannot get it that way. It's just not like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Good.
Okay.
You're setting the stage for what we're going to talk about after we come back from this commercial. So stay tuned. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Live It Up. We're here. We're talking with Amy today, and we're talking about the COVID-19 vaccine. You kind of gave us some good information on where to get it and what your experience was. But a lot of people are just wondering, like, is this safe, and what are the benefits?
Yeah, so given what we know, I feel that the vaccine is safe. Again, it's possible that in 5 years, something else happens as a result of this vaccine. If that's really the case, there's going to be a lot of us that have whatever problem that is. So I really hope that's not the case. I feel like that the technology in this vaccine has been studied for years. This particular vaccine has not been studied for years, meaning like we haven't been able to give it to people and then see how they do 3 years later, 4 years later, 5 years later. But the technology in the vaccine is not It's been studied, and the anyway, so I can't say 100% that there's not going to be issues from it down the road, but I feel like given the choice that's in front of us right now with illness and death on the one hand, and having to live closed down with all the, as we all know, with all these restrictions, I feel like it's worth the risk, and I'm trusting the science on it, and I'm trusting that it's going to be okay. And because the benefits of the vaccine, that the COVID vaccine has really shown, the ones we have in our country right now, Moderna and Pfizer, that really in all that you will not die from COVID if you get this vaccine. No one has died from COVID that has gotten this vaccine. In the studies that they did, at least with the 75,000 people they studied, no one died from COVID. No one even got seriously sick from COVID. They're the 95% effective. That just means 5% got mild COVID, maybe mild to moderate, but not even severe symptoms of COVID. So basically getting the vaccine is telling you that you will not die from COVID. And that's a pretty huge ticket of freedom right there, where you can move it about in the world and you know that you're not going to die from it. They believe that, that this is yet to be finalized in studies, but they believe those have been vaccinated, it's going to prevent the spread of COVID to other people, just because you don't have enough of it in your nose. Even if you had some, you wouldn't have enough to be infectious. And then the number of people in the community, if between the people who've had COVID and the people who are immunized, then you're just going to prevent the spreading of it. And so even I read an article last week that they think 110 million people in the US have had COVID, even though those are maybe undocumented, and 33 million people had the vaccine. So that's 143 million people have either had COVID or had the vaccine. Then we're starting to get to the point of maybe herd immunity. The other thing that having the vaccine does is that if you can't get COVID, you're not going to be able to, the virus isn't going to be able to mutate. It's mutating in people's bodies. So this mutation that we're worried about, the less people that get sick from COVID, the less of a chance there is that COVID is going to mutate and then and then have the vaccines not be effective against it.
Yeah.
So those are the benefits. So basically it's like preventing you from dying and preventing other people from dying.
Yeah, good, really good stuff. So the mRNA vaccine works in a really unique way, and it's one that we haven't done before. Is that accurate?
Correct. This is the first time we've had a vaccine like this
that
we've used. It's been studied. The company Moderna has been studying mRNA vaccines for a while, for years. So both the Pfizer and the Moderna vaccines are both using messenger mRNA. Or messenger RNA. That's what the mRNA stands for. And so the coronaviruses have a spike-like structure, which we've all, I think, seen pictures of. It's called an S protein. And so the COVID-19 mRNA vaccine, basically it goes into your muscle and it gives your muscle cells instructions on how to make a harmless portion of the S protein. And so after vaccination, the cells in your body begin making these protein pieces because the mRNA is telling your muscle cells how to make it and what to make. So it makes those, and your immune system starts to recognize that protein as a foreign protein and starts to make an immune response by building antibodies. I had listened to that podcast that I shared with you, that there were these scientists back, I think they finished up their research back in 2013, and they had basically made an mRNA, or they'd made a vaccine against the Middle Eastern SARS virus. They had figured out which protein would work. And those were actually the scientists, they completed the research in 2013 or 2014. That's who the NIH reached out to then say, hey, look at this genetic code of COVID-19. Then they gave that code to Moderna. They're like, we know this code's going to work. It's not going to fold on itself. It's going to be a good one. And that's what Moderna used. And so these pieces to the vaccine have been being studied for years, is the point.
Yeah. Next question is, other people, they're considering getting this vaccine, worried about side effects, possible side effects. What's been your experience working up in Brewster with people who have received it?
Yeah, we have not had, knock on wood, we haven't had any serious side effects. We're being very careful. We have everything ready in case somebody does have an allergic reaction. What I have seen from my colleagues and other people is that, the day after you get the second shot, especially, people feel pretty puny. You don't want to have a big meeting that day or a performance or something like that. But other than that, everyone has been doing really well. Definitely all of our arms were quite sore, and some people got migraine. that kind of thing. You're monitored for 15 minutes after the vaccine is performed to make sure that you don't have an immediate reaction. If you have a history of a severe allergic reactions to vaccines or an injectable medication, you actually can still get the COVID-19 vaccine, but you'll be monitored for a little bit longer. If you've ever had an allergic reaction to any of the COVID-19 ingredients, then the CDC is recommending that you don't get that specific vaccine. And those are listed, you could find that online. And if you've ever had a reaction to any of those, you are not allowed to get what we are currently have approved, which is the Moderna or Pfizer.
Got it. We have time for one more question.
Okay.
So that one is, if someone's already had COVID-19, should they be getting the vaccine still or not?
Yeah, you definitely should. So the recommendation, at least right now, and that this recommendation has been changing, so it might change, is that that you would delay the vaccination for 90 days after you've had COVID, confirmed COVID. So the reason is that the reason you should get a vaccine is, and I think we've all heard this too, is number one, we're not sure how long immunity lasts for anybody, and those who even have detectable antibodies in their bloodstream, we don't even know how long they're going to be immune. If you have a really mild case, you might not be immune. And so you basically have to just assume, like, I'm just not sure whether my infection is going to give me long lasting immunity. And if you're not sure about that, then you take the vaccine, which we at least know the vaccine, at least it's preventing immunity from when it started being studied, which was, I believe it started being given to humans maybe last April. So we have maybe almost a year's worth of data. So you should just get the vaccine.
Got it.
Everyone should get the vaccine, unless you're allergic to one of those components that's in the vaccine. Can I just say one thing about the Johnson & Johnson? Just one thing.
Yeah.
That the Johnson & Johnson vaccine is actually a different formulation or different manner that it's what works. Anyway, it's going to be probably at the end of February. We will know whether that one's going to get an emergency use authorization. And the AstraZeneca one was kind of taken off the table as doesn't seem to be effective against the South African variant.
Good.
Anyway,
Good to know.
Yeah. Some two other tidbits.
Yeah. Really good information. Thanks for bringing it.
There's a lot of stuff I had more to say, but
well, there may be another episode on this.
Okay.
All right. Hey, it's time now for you guys to get out there, be a source of kindness, be a source of contribution. You have something to offer this world, and we believe in you.